I call the January 6th meeting of the Homewood Board of Zoning Adjustments to order. Would we please call the roll?
Houston Wordle,
Here.
Miss LaBeouf,
Here.
Mr. Perkle,
Here.
Miss Hand, here, Mr. Foley,
Here.
Stuart Robert.
Okay. We do not have the minutes. Fred did not get them finished, so we don't have minutes to approve, and they'll be in our packets next month with tonight's minutes. And communications and reports from the chair and vice chair. The bylaws revision on the supernumeraries that we discussed last time didn't make the agenda this time because of too many other things going on. So it will be on the agenda next time. We can vote on it there. Anything from the vice chair?
Nope.
Okay. Next thing is the election of the chairman and the vice chairman. Ms. Williams, would you like to state the slate?
I'd like to, I'm sorry?
State the slate of officers. Would you like to announce the slate of officers?
If you want me to.
Yeah, please.
Why don't you do it? This is your last chance to do it. Why don't you do it? Since we
Okay.
talked about it already.
Yeah, okay. Yes, we did. Okay.
You can go out a rebel.
Oh, okay. Well, I've tried not to do that with this. The nominating committee has nominated Mr. Foley to be chair and Ms. Hand to be vice chair. Are there any comments from the board? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
It's official.
It's official, Mr. Foley.
Next item on the agenda is old business, I guess, case, BZA case 21-12-03.
Hey, how are y'all doing?
Okay, if you would, please state your name and your address for the record.
Hey, I am Amanda Hickam with Harper Harris Design Studio. I am designing the property renovations at 1605 Grove Place. Currently, we are planning to add an addition, a master bathroom addition, onto the west elevation of the property, which currently is not in conformance to the 10-foot setback. So we'll be extending that line that exists on the existing footprint back an additional 14 feet 9 inches. So we are requesting a variance for that.
Okay, is that all?
Yes.
All right. This is a public hearing. If you're here to speak on the case, please step forward and state your name and address. That appears to close the public portion of the case. I'll open it up to the board for questions.
Are you making any other renovations or additions to the house that are not needing a variance?
Yes, we're renovating the kitchen as well as a bathroom upstairs.
Is it an existing one-story, or are you adding a story, or?
No, it is an existing two-story, but the addition is only one story.
And you're having to move the HVAC units?
We are.
I move to approve SV case number 21-1203.
A second.
Mr. Word?
Yes.
Ms. LaBeouf?
Yes.
Mr. Purple?
Yes.
Ms. Hand?
Yes.
Mr. Foley?
Yes. Your case has been approved. You have 180 days to pull your permit.
Thank you.
Ms. Hibble, if you don't mind, would you sign the sign-in sheet? Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is new business, BZA case 220101.
Thank you.
If you would, please state your name and address, and then also fill out the form at the podium.
Of course. I'm Chase Straisner with Straisner Investment Company. My house is located at 506 Dexter Avenue, Mountain Brook, Alabama. Straisner Investment Company's office is located right across the street at Hallman Hill, one of the 4 properties we have in Homewood, actually. And the variance is in regard to our Linden Avenue address at 2916 Linden? And we are asking for, I think it's like a 9.8 variance. I know C1 is 15 feet from each side.
You want me to explain this?
Yes, that would be
Make it
great.
easier?
Yes. Because yes.
This was a residential lot. At some point, it was rezoned to C1. When that happened, it was given, it had to have 15-foot setback, so it was automatically non-conforming. They have applied for a rezoning that was heard by Planning Commission Tuesday night and recommended. The
62.
rezoning has been recommended for, and it'll go to City Council. C4 would give them 0 setbacks, but the only reason they're wanting to rezone to C4 is because C1 uses are so restrictive. So it's not gonna change how they plan to build this, is my understanding.
Correct.
Everything's gonna stay the same, so their setbacks, they are requesting this variance in case City Council does not grant the rezoning. But even if City Council does give them rezoning, they're gonna build it at what they get from you tonight.
Which is well
Which-
within,
Yeah, it would be 9 feet in from the,
so you have the existing building, everything with the existing building, we're gonna be within that existing building. But
Does it
it
make
just makes it
sense?
almost impossible to build a building with the
Like-
current setbacks with the lot that we have.
yeah, and so,
With a 50-foot lot and 15
And-
feet of setback from
that
each.
you have a 20-foot
We have 20
wide
feet
building, yeah.
that
You
we
have a
can
single
build.
wide.
So it's, yeah, we can build maybe a townhouse.
Yeah.
So that was our reasoning for the variance. And it would go ahead, I know that rezoning takes a little bit, but with the variance, y'all can vote on it now so we can at least get the process going of getting building supplies. And I'm sure y'all are aware of how difficult that is nowadays, but if you have any questions, I'm here to help. And Sherry, thank you so much for speaking up.
You're welcome.
A question, is there any chance that the structure, the orientation could change as far as entrances and exits from what you're showing and proposing right here? So could there be an entrance on the alley side in the
Ooh,
future?
I don't think so, just because that side, not only are we gonna have to really go in there and make it more level, but how the lot goes, it kind of slants downward. So we would have to build a staircase down just to get out from the alley side. So that would be, I don't think that would be very safe for.
Okay.
So I don't
It's quite a
see
slope.
us wanting.
There's a pretty big slope there.
Right. We'll probably have to put a retaining wall depending on the water factor and how that's gonna go out. But just for safety issues there. And then we'll also move the HVAC and AC system over to the left side to make it more, a better appearance from the alley.
I've been in this place many times.
Oh, the hairstylist when it was
Yes.
there?
My
There you go.
hairstylist is at the other end, the one that straightens my hair was in this one, and they moved over here to Soho, so.
Yep.
That's why I've been in there many times. So you're using the same footprint, the same foundation,
Yes, ma'am.
and the parking will still be in front?
If
Or will you-
we're allowed to have, if that's
Yes.
grandfathered in, that would be great. I know they said we couldn't have parking in the back, because you can't back out into, I guess that's a main
Yeah.
street, even though.
Well,
You can't back out onto a public street.
but-
so, but.
Yeah, y'all
were
know
you-
what
Were you
that is.
planning any in the back, or?
We're gonna put gravel, so,
So that's, I
or
mean,
no,
it's-
no, we're
yeah.
not.
Well, the customers parked in front and the employees parked
There-
in the back on the gravel.
Yeah, or whatever was back there, yeah. so-
Whatever, yeah, I don't know, because I.
We're not gonna have parking back there, but it's not, yeah,
Okay,
us to enforce parking, right?
okay. Just trying to make sure I got the orientation
Yes,
the same.
Is this for an office?
So we're trying to get it rezoned for retail use also, just because how everything's been shifting with office space. You see a lot of office space signs around, and our other retail spaces that we have, might have got out of the 100 calls, maybe one of an office. So I don't know how, you know, and it would be better set for retail also. But if for some reason we don't get that rezoning, then we'll do whatever we can to rent it out for an office.
Gotcha, but is it vacant now, or is there a tenant?
It's been vacant, gosh, for
Gotcha.
a year and a half. We removed all the asbestos and out about 4 months ago, and everything else. It was about a $30,000 cost to get everything ready for a build. But once, we were hoping the new rezoning plan was gonna get passed, and that would have made us in the guidelines for the setbacks for our plan, but unfortunately that didn't pass, so we're here now.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember when I started coming over here. It's been at least a year.
What's the total square footage of
The proposed, I believe it's 2,085 square feet. I can't tell you exactly the existing structure, square footage. But a lot of it's gonna get torn down. We're gonna keep the concrete, but I mean, that building is decrepit.
It's a very old house.
Yes.
Very quaint.
We had no idea how they used, or there was a hair salon there, to be honest.
Well,
Is that, do need to open it up. This is a public hearing, so if you're here to speak on the case, please step forward and state your name and address. I think that closes the public portion, so I'll officially open this up to the board for questions.
so, and one other question for me. There's a little porch there, and then you go into the receptionist area.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the way I know it. So is that going to be torn down, or are you going to extend that out?
So that
That's
little
what I'm trying to say,
receptionist
what's-
area is gonna be torn down.
Okay, and then the front will.
That will allow for a
the-
wheelchair ramp on the
Okay,
left
so that's
side
what
if
that
you're
is.
facing the building.
Okay.
On the left side coming
Yeah.
up, and then we'll have a little porch area out in the front.
Okay, yeah.
But by knocking that down, which that wasn't added to the original, I guess, house that was there, and it wasn't very well built.
Okay.
But that will also give us room to put that wheelchair ramp in.
Yeah, because it wasn't level with.
Yeah, and it had the, whenever you walk into a house and you're walking up and
Yeah.
down, like one, it reminds me of my grandparents' house.
Yeah,
How
that's
you're
the
kind
way
of
that
walking
was.
up and down one step.
Yeah.
Never the best.
Okay, I'm glad that's going to be taken.
I just wanted to make sure I understand
Yeah,
what's
yes, ma'am.
going on is most of the house is gonna be gone and then it's gonna be extended to the back to become this building? Is that correct?
So we're gonna, from the existing foundation.
Yeah.
We're gonna go inside and then all the way almost to the end or within 30 feet from the outside and then but we won't go outside.
Yeah.
Of the existing foundation.
That's
but
perfect.
just build on the back.
Thank you.
And I apologize if y'all don't have the plans already.
I do, I just,
Oh,
wanna
okay.
make sure
Yeah.
reading it right.
Okay.
And how many parks will be required?
How many, what, I'm sorry?
Parking spaces, parks?
So I guess
We
just
won't know.
what we've got there.
We won't know until we know the uses,
Gotcha.
and we'll have to figure out more detail then and see what's gonna have to happen.
Is that parking at the back as well?
We don't know at this point, until we know whether it can be rezoned and what the uses will be,
Gotcha.
or if the rezoning goes through.
I move we approve BZA case SV 22-01-01.
I second that.
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Ms. LaBeouf?
Yes.
Mr. Purple?
Yes.
Ms. Hand?
Yes.
Mr. Foley?
Yes. Your application's been approved. You have 180 days to pull your permit.
Thank you all so much. And thank y'all. Homewood as a city is just so business friendly, and we really do appreciate everything y'all do.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, next item on the agenda is BZA case 220102. You would step forward and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Jelene Breland. I live at 1021 Queensberry Road. And I'm trying to get an old deck removed, a new deck built, with half of it being a sunroom. That, understanding there'll be an overhang, and I think the variance is like 7.7 or something. I don't quite understand this. But in the long run, it will improve my quality of life. And also, my pending in retirement sure make my life easier and nicer.
This is a public hearing. If you're here to speak on the case, please step forward, state your name and address for the record.
Hey, I'm Meredith Wolf Alsterbrook, and I live at 1025 Queensbury Road. So I'm her neighbor on the side where the existing deck is. And I'm just here tonight in support of the variance. We have no issue with it. I think it'll definitely enhance her quality of life, and it's just going to look very nice, and I think increase property value. So we are in support of the variance, being the neighbors on the side, like looking at it. And I think the overhang like comes onto our property a little bit, but it's unusable space. So we have a driveway and then a retaining wall, and then there's a little bit of space in her deck. So we're not doing anything with that space, and we would love for her to have her screen and porch, so, that's all.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, yes. Thank you.
Anyone else? We'll close the public portion of the hearing and open the case up to questions for the board.
Okay, the plans from the contractor kind of confused me a little bit until I realized that their left and right is our front and back.
Do what now? I'm sorry.
Where they say this is the left side of the house, the left, where the door is on the left side.
If you're
it's-
facing from the driveway,
But they're meaning it's on the front if you're facing the driveway.
if I'm looking at the front of the house from the driveway, the deck is on the right side.
Correct. But they were talking about the door being on the left side, but it's on the front side. They're looking at the,
The door for the deck,
yes.
it will be
for
on the front
room.
side.
Right.
Then
So
the-
they were looking at it from the side, excuse me, the side view as
'Cause
opposed
he
to.
would, yeah,
And that,
the left,
I got real confused there for
Yeah.
a while until I figured out what they were doing. So there's going to be a part that's not covered.
Yes.
Is that on the
Half will be
front,
uncovered
or-
and half will be covered.
Is that the front or the back part?
The front part will be covered.
Got it. But the back part's the open part.
Correct.
So is there anything back there that's gonna,
No.
you're gonna?
It will just be an open deck.
Okay,
And there'll be a door
Mhm.
going into the the screened-in area, and then from there, there'll be a door going out to the open part of the deck.
got
So
it
there'll be two
now.
doors.
Okay. Just wanted to be sure I finally figured it out correctly.
I understand.
Thank you.
So the current deck is 2.3 feet offset from the property line on I'll call it the front of the deck, and the 2.8 feet off the back, and you're just,
We're just taking down what's there and putting another one back up, because
Yeah.
the existing one needs to be taken down totally.
that's right. And then, can somebody reframe the code issue for me so we understand? I
the
understand.
building part of it, remember the building codes part that you and I discussed? And I don't know if your contractor ever spoke with the,
Did someone speak with Mr. Pugh?
the building code would not allow it to be built at 2.3 feet. So even if the board were to grant a variance, a zoning variance, so that you could place it at 2.3 feet, the building code is gonna prohibit that. And so, when you and I spoke about it, I think at that time I told you it needed to be at 5 feet so that you could have it screened. So that's something that you can verbally change her request if she wants to, or how would that need to be, how would you want that handled? Or does she just say that she
She's gonna
understands that
need-
she can't do it at 2.3 feet?
So at 3 feet, she would be within the international residential code.
I
Or the
think it's
building
at
code.
5 feet that's going, it's the openings that is the problem.
Okay.
Because between 3 and 5 feet, she can only have 25% openings. In order to have it screened, which is essentially 100% open, she would have to be at 5 feet.
Is there any kind of plan approval process after this, or is?
Yes, the building permit,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, I just wanted to explain all of this to you and to her, because I didn't want her to come to you and then y'all not know and say, oh yeah, that looks great. And then when she came in to get her building permit, suddenly say, guess what? I just wanted everybody to know what the building code had to say about this, so that y'all could discuss it and make an appropriate decision.
Yeah.
So she can go up to 5 feet from the,
Yes.
Okay.
So that would be
In order for it to be screened, you could go at 5 feet
5 feet from what to what?
from your property line. So that's still, because you have a 10-foot setback, so that would still be a reduction of 5 feet.
So that would be, instead of the reduction.
It's gonna be it's about 2.7 feet more than what you're requesting further in. So it's gonna reduce your deck size by that much.
2.7?
Yeah, or, is that right? Do I have my numbers right?
yeah, I
Yay.
think,
Do what now? Reduce it to 2.7? I mean, reduce it by 2.7?
Yes, ma'am.
So that would be,
And that's just the width of the deck itself. It doesn't count the overhang. So the overhang can still come over, you know, a foot or 18 inches, whatever you're planning, as long as you're not up to 2 feet, but for the overhang. But the overhang, we're not counting that part. So it would just be reducing the width of the deck, or the screen porch, by an additional 2.7.
so the screened-in area would have to be reduced by 2.7. What about the open part of the deck? Would it have to be reduced?
Yes.
So all of it's
It can,
reduced?
yes.
All of it's reduced by 2.7, another 2.7. So that would be a reduction of, it'd be 5 feet.
No, it would.
Because right now it's 7.7.
Right, so you would be, you would be,
Reduce it, so it'd be,
you would go from,
Oh, yes, you're remaining, is that right?
right, your setback is 10 feet. You're requesting 2.3. But it needs to be at 5. So you would be getting a 5-foot reduction in your setback, because your setback is supposed to be 10 feet. So you're gonna need to be in at 5 feet.
which makes your deck 7 feet and 3 inches wide instead of 10 feet, if the plan is
Width.
correct.
Sherry?
Okay.
Ma'am, can I just make sure I'm understanding? Right now, she's asking for 2.3, right? And that's existing, but you're saying that we're only approving this variance, but when it goes to you or to get a permit, that she's gonna need to be 5, so right now we can propose that she can have the 5-foot setback if we wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, what you choose to approve is up to you. Staff cannot recommend that
Yeah.
you approve something that violates another city code or ordinance.
Yeah,
Um,
so we have the
you
option
have
of
the
saving
option.
her some
You
time.
can give her, everybody understands what the situation is. If you choose to give her what she is requesting, then that's your decision to make. But at the time that the building permit is reviewed and approved, it cannot be at 2.3 feet.
Perfect, so like if we decide as a board that we would like to give her a 5-foot setback variance, so that she doesn't have to get this variance, go back to permits, and then come back and ask for a 5, then we can allow it?
Well, she wouldn't have to ask for, you know,
Oh.
if you gave her the 2.3,
Yeah,
then she would, yeah, I mean, 5 is within that, you know, so she could,
oh, good, great.
but as a city employee,
Yeah.
I cannot recommend that you violate the building code.
Okay, that sounds
But
perfect.
the decision is yours to make, however you wish to make it.
But our.
Does that make sense to you?
Do what?
Does this make sense? I know it's complicated.
It's all a bunch of Greek, and I don't speak Greek.
I
I
understand.
do good to speak English.
Basically, we can approve to offset the 2.5
I
or
have
the
a fellow here
2.7 feet.
with my construction group that's hearing all this.
Yeah,
And he's taking all this in, I hope. And he knows what he needs to go back and tell them.
yeah,
So I
The
know what
point
we
is-
need to do.
yeah.
They can grant a zoning variance, but they cannot
Change the ordinance.
change the building
We can't approve
code.
the
They
plans
can't
as
do it-
is.
Yeah,
That's
the
right.
building code is completely separate.
Right.
So it's,
So I need a 5-foot setback.
yes, ma'am.
You need to stay.
You need
behind.
plans that show that the deck is set
And-
off 5 feet, and
And all of that would be handled through the
Building department.
building department at the time of permitting.
That's right.
And plan review.
And that would reduce the width of your deck down to 7 feet and some odd inches, if that's. if
It's
you
a
can-
shame that deck's been there forever.
I know.
There was a deck there when I bought the house 100 years ago.
I know.
Yeah, well,
That's life. It's in the
But
big city.
if it wasn't covered or screened.
No, it was just a deck. She's been replacing boards over the
No,
years.
but what I was gonna ask is, would that allow her to build within 3 feet if it were just a deck?
If it were just a deck.
If it was uncovered,
I'm sorry?
if it was uncovered, no screened, if it's just a deck.
Does it require that it be treated, be rated?
would you even need a permit to replace decking?
Well, she's been
might.
doing that for years, and she's at the point where it needs to be removed and either rebuilt just as a deck.
Years ago, it got some bad yellow wood. If you remember when yellow wood had a problem, I've got yellow wood on my deck and it's rotting.
Yep.
And I've got a big dog. I don't want to fall through the deck and break a leg.
Yeah, no,
Or
understood.
Granny here break a leg.
Oh, I mean, is there no way, can I speak?
Sure.
Is this- Okay, I mean, since this structure has been in existence, it's my understanding, which is very limited, that if you're replacing a structure that's already been there, that typically you can just replace it in the same footprint.
But she's not.
but she's not.
Well, she's replaced okay, but so the deck itself is the exact same structure, and then there's like a screen going on top of the deck, which I consider like, I don't know, it's the same footprint.
It's an addition to the house.
It's now a roofed structure.
It's a
Okay.
roofed structure,
But,
yes.
so there's no way to grandfather,
No.
Mm-mm.
and is there any way, and I understand that like y'all can only approve the variance, and then the deck structure has to be approved by the building code, but is there any way that the building code would allow, like whatever that process, would they allow her to do the same footprint, or that, can they vote to allow her to keep the same footprint?
But she wants to cover it.
It's not the
That's
same
the
thing.
problem.
She wants to cover part of it.
Well, then she can leave that part that's not covered. But the part that's covered's gonna have to be reduced.
Here's
And
the.
it doesn't make
It just
sense. to
Yeah, it doesn't
ha-
make sense.
Right.
And like, it's gonna make her deck smaller, so like,
Yeah. So here's also to answer your question, is that we as the Board of Zoning Adjustments, we can only handle zoning issues, not building issues.
Okay.
So that's where Sherry, comes in.
The staff come in.
would there be in any world where if it's violating the building code, which it would be as it's currently drawn, that they would still approve it?
No.
Okay, I didn't know if they made exceptions. It just seems very unreasonable that if,
Because all someone would have to do is object and she'd have to tear it down.
See, as long as she was replacing a board here and there and maintaining it, it's been there forever.
Right.
I mean, and she's been replacing boards and maintaining it forever.
Mhm.
But it's just gotten to the point where it's no longer can be maintained. And it's, removing it
right,
requires that it be, or covering it,
right.
requires that it be brought into compliance with the zoning ordinance.
So what I need to go back to the drawing board, get them to redraw the plans to a 5-foot setback.
Yeah, and I think those were the comments that you got originally from the building department. For the when it was just gonna be, I think at one point you were just gonna replace the deck and then you
No, we
changed
were
your
gonna
mind.
screen it in,
Always
just-
gonna screen it
yeah.
in. But a deck that is uncovered, and is 5 feet or less in height from grade can extend into a setback, up to 5 feet. So it's not the uncovered deck part that she really needs the variance for, because she can go up to 5 feet from her property line for that. It's the covered part. Once it becomes essentially a room, or covered, and it's roofed area, then, you know, the other requirements of the building code are gonna kick in.
Sorry, can I ask one more question? So could they reduce the size that the screen and porch would be, and then the part that's gonna be uncovered, could it come out a little bit farther? Like to where it currently is?
At 2.8 feet, I think it's 2.8 at the back and
Mhm.
2.3 at
Yeah.
the front.
So like the backside that's uncovered could be the size, basically, I know it's all one piece, but like, they could make it kind of, and then the back part could like jut out a little bit. I'm just trying to like maximize her deck space.
Yeah, it says that,
Is that, okay.
Mhm.
no,
Yeah,
between
that's a
2 and
question.
5 feet, it has to be rated.
Even if it's an open deck?
It's a projection.
I mean, it,
So, I mean, technically, I guess it could, but from 2 to 5 feet would have to be rated.
That's ridiculous. I mean, that's,
yeah, I guess if you want to proffer an adjustment to your application, whether it's, 3 feet or 5 feet, depending on whether or not you think you want to build an open deck or a closed deck, I think what staff is providing you the information of is like, you still have the building permit hurdles to get through. But, giving you a variance or voting on a variance request of 3 or 5 feet, will give you some flexibility in decision-making. So we could either keep the application as is, or you could proffer to adjust it to a lesser setback request, and we could vote on that as well.
or we
In
could,
order
or
for it
you could go and, you could carry it over and talk to your contractor and see what they could do to come in conformance better, and then come back.
The thing, I think,
I have someone from Durante here with me.
yeah,
And he's listening to this, and he can take this back to the
Right.
guys to redo plans, so it sets back at 5 feet.
I think you should keep your request as it is and ask the board to consider your request as you have submitted it. The building code will allow an open deck to be up to 2 feet from the property line. The only problem there is that it has to be fire rated. And I don't know what that's gonna do to your cost, I don't know how much fire rated lumber is, I don't know anything about it.
It's all gonna be done in composite.
So, the open deck part, it is possible that it could be at 2.3 feet, as long as it is fire rated. The enclosed part, the screened part, needs to be at 5 feet. If you ask the board to keep your application as submitted and vote on what you are requesting, I believe that gives you the option to have the open deck, fire rated, and closer and extend out beyond the screened in portion that's gonna have to be tucked in some. Gives you a little bit of wiggle room in your designing
Right.
of this. That is my recommendation.
Okay. Did y'all hear what she just said?
She did a very, very
Do you
nice
agree?
job
Excellent
of explaining that.
Thank you.
What she said?
Yeah, what she
I'm not
said.
repeating it, because I can't. Open deck's could be up to 2.3, it's gotta be fire rated, and the closed part, it's got to be at 5 feet.
Yes, ma'am.
I got it written
Perfect.
down right here.
You've got it, you've got it.
You got it.
You know exactly what you're asking for.
Only because I read it down. Lordy Jesus. I'll be able to do this job tomorrow. We'll do it when I retire.
I'm nervous.
Yeah. Well,
It's not gonna be anytime
congratulations.
soon.
Congratulations on retirement.
Oh, it's not gonna be anytime soon. I'm a nurse.
Oh.
We don't retire, we die.
All right, so does the board have any questions for me? Does everybody understand what,
But my question to you is, the changes that in red, is that what we're voting on?
Yeah, the 2.8 is what's in the back,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Okay, I just want to make sure that we're not changing any of this if we
no,
voted as
we're not
submitted.
changing per application.
Because it was corrected by staff in red.
Yes,
so-
staff corrected it. That's what that is what her request is.
Great.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I move to approve SV case 22-01-02, BZA case.
As, I'm going to say add as submitted to that. If-
As submitted.
As submitted, that
As
is what I
submitted.
move to approve.
A second.
Hold on. Mr. Wordle,
Yes.
Ms. LaBeouf,
Yes,
Mr. Purple,
Yes.
Ms. Hand,
Yes.
Mr. Foley.
Yes. Your case has been approved. You have 180 days to pull your permit.
Thank you, Captain. I'm so confused, but that's okay. Thank y'all.
All right. I believe last but not least is BZA case 220103. If you would please step forward, state your name and address for the record.
My name is John Paul Strong. I'm the owner of the property at 401 Yorkshire Drive. Requesting a variance to build a swimming pool.
Is that all? All right,
That's
this
all.
is a public hearing. If there's anyone to speak on the case, please step forward, state your name and address. As there is no one else in the room, we will close the public portion of the case and open it up to the board for questions.
I went and looked at the property this weekend, and you're pretty far along with framing and everything, so this was an afterthought?
No, it was with the initial plans from the beginning that have been submitted, I believe, twice at least. But because it is a, what, corner lot?
Yeah, and the swimming pool's a separate permit. I'm the swimming pool contractor. The general contractor doesn't permit the swimming pool.
Yeah,
And so he selected the general contractor, assumed that when the building department looked at the drawings and approved the plan, that they were also approving the swimming pool. But the building department doesn't approve the swimming pool until a licensed pool contractor applies for the permit. So when I applied for the permit, that's when he realized he needed the variance to be able to build a pool on a corner lot. Code states you have to be in the backyard to build a swimming pool in most municipalities. Obviously, corner lots are hardship cases because they don't technically have quote-unquote backyards. In this case, the structure of the house, the way the landscaping is designed with the retaining wall, the pool will be totally private. There'll be no neighbors that are affected any more than anybody else's pool would affect a neighbor, and it won't be visible from the street. So we're just applying for a hardship variance to be able to build a pool on a corner lot. It'll be in the back by any reasonable, standard. It just won't be in the back based on the corner lot.
So, question for staff, this isn't a setback issue, this is just the fact that we're a corner lot, we can't
Correct.
define a
It's not a
backyard.
setback issue.
Okay.
And,
What-
oh, sorry, go on.
What would the setback be in a?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I think it says 10 here.
Should be 10 on this size lot.
This is
I-
pretty elevated up above the adjacent road, right? Is this lot up on a hill?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Big hill, isn't it?
I think it's 10 right here. So, just to clarify, the part that's actually, the part of the pool that's closest to the street, it's just covered by that building?
By the house, yes.
Yeah.
The house, yes.
Perfect.
Are you 10 feet from the property line with the pool?
Yes. More than.
Ms. Williams, do you know if that was discussed with them when the original plans were submitted about having to have the pool contracted?
do I know
About
what?
having to have, do you know if it was discussed with them when they originally applied for a permit about needing a separate one for the pool, or?
I didn't review the plan.
Okay.
So, and Wyatt usually catches that. I guess he just didn't this time, when he sent the comments. But he's usually very good about,
Do we usually do that at the same time if there's a pool? Get the,
at the same time we permitted a house.
yeah.
We
I
try
mean-
to look at everything. We try to catch what,
Yeah. I mean, I just didn't know if it was kind of standard to do the pool contractor later or do it all at one time.
well.
I mean, I
we try
realize
to
they need
look-
separate ones, but I'm just saying, is,
Yeah, we try to look at everything and give a more, a comprehensive
Mhm.
set of comments back that would have included something to the effect of, when you decide to permit the swimming pool, a variance will be required. We try to give them a heads up so that they know.
Okay.
But sometimes they slip by.
I mean, the fact of the matter is there's no backyard, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
There is no backyard.
So,
We have 2 fronts and 2 sides.
I move to approve BZA case number SV 22-1, oh wait, I think I got the wrong one, sorry. SV -22-01-03.
Second.
Mr. Wardle,
yes.
Ms. LaBeouf,
yes.
Mr. Purple,
Yes.
Ms. Hand,
Yes.
Mr. Foley.
Yes. Your case has been approved. You have 180 days to pull your permit.
Thank you, guys,
Thank
very
y'all.
much.
Have a
Appreciate
nice
it.
night.
I believe that wraps up the Board of Zoning Adjustment meeting for January 2022.